Hey folks, Steph here, and I gotta ask, who else is excited for the Barbie movie? I saw that trailer and I was just like, I told Cassie, who's my wife, I'm like, we have to go. Because when I was a kid, I had a ton of Barbies. I also had a ton of My Little Ponies and a great big sandbox, so my Barbies were always in swimsuits and covered in sand and grime, but we had a great time. At least, I hope the Barbies had a great time. Not like you can ask a Barbie doll. Anyway, the Barbie trailer has me super excited, and in addition to wanting to go and dragging the wife to the theater, she was never really into Barbie. I want to do something glass related, and you're probably going, well, how does a summer blockbuster translate to glass? But I was thinking I'd make a plate inspired by Barbie. It has to be pink. Absolutely has to be pink. So I'm going to make the base to start, and I'm going to use light pink striker. Now, granted, this hasn't struck yet. Pardon me itching my eye. It's really hot in here and I'm sweating. This is light pink striker, which, if you've never seen it, starts out like this and turns out bright, bright pink. So I'm going to use that as the base, and then I'm going to cap it with a piece of what Bullseye had a special production called Peony Pink. I haven't actually seen what this looks like when it strikes, so it's going to be really interesting. I've cut it slightly smaller, so that if you can see, I get it here close to the camera, I'm going to, and you can see the edges aren't quite perfect. I'm not the world's best cutter. I'm going to leave it in such a way that it has just a slight edge around it so that when it fuses, there's this bright pink, light pink, edging around the peony to give it sort of a border effect. And then I'm going to do my design on top. But I'll talk about how I'm going to embellish it once this blank is out of the kiln. Okay, the plate is out, and wow, what a change in colors. I always forget exactly how bright pink striker gets. It is just stunning. So for those of you that didn't see the original pieces, let me show you. This is Peony Pink. This was a Bullseye special production. One thing I think it's interesting if you look at it is it didn't fuse completely smooth. There's still a bit of streaky to it, which if you back up in the video, you will see. This is the original Peony Pink that I cut from. You can see I'm not the world's greatest cutter. And it was a pale, pale color, and it fused a much more bright shade than I expected, but that's like the perfect Barbie pink, so I'm good. I'm real happy. And then, of course, light pink striker looks almost blue, like pale purple tint before it strikes. And it strikes to that beautiful, I don't know why they call it light pink, because it's day glow pink. So I'm super happy with how this blank turned out. So now we need to move on to how we're going to embellish it. Now, I had a bunch of ideas, and the first one up I thought was I'd do a Barbie silhouette. Ignore the one in the circle, that was going to be too much work to cut out. But actually we're going to use the one in the circle because the other one's got her ponytail cut off. But I was thinking I'd do this silhouette because I have a Taurus saw, and it would be really cute to do Barbie in her high ponytail. But ultimately, I rejected it because that's a little too on the nose, a little bit too, hey, I'm copying Barbie exactly. So I pitched the Barbie ponytail idea. And then I went to another thing was a bright yellow rollerblade from the trailer. It's my friend in Bosnia suggested it because the rollerblades are freaking everywhere in the trailers. But two things struck me on that. Is first off, the bright yellow rollerblade doesn't have a whole lot of contrast to it. It's just yellow. And second, my glass wife, Linda, did a roller skate for her friend of hers. And while it was a roller skate, not a rollerblade, I didn't really want to feel like I wanted to copy her. Even though she gave my her blessing for me to do something similar, it was cool. I just, I thought a little weird, Oh, hitting the camera, sorry. Another thought I considered was a glittery high heel, because I've got some pink Dichro that would look really cute. But that's generic. I mean, you do it in a black high heel with a red bottom, and you've got several women's dream pump in a Louboutin. So I just decided that a glittery heel was going to be too generic for it to cut. So I ditched the heel. Although, Dichro, can you imagine how glittery that would have been? It would have been amazing. So finally, I hit on an idea. The original Barbie came with a black and white patterned chevron bathing suit. In fact, my mother remembers her first Barbies having that bathing suit. And so I was thinking, how perfect would it be to do a chevron pattern on this? And I'm thinking what I'm going to do is, instead of doing it square, I'm going to do it at an angle. And I'm probably going to do it in a rectangle as opposed to a square. But I'm not going to put it head on. I'm going to put it at a tilt. I've never done a chevron before, so that'll be kind of fun. But I think it would be perfect because it'll be reminiscent of the suit. It'll evoke the original Barbie memories and Margot Robbie in the initial teaser trailer standing there in the Barbie suit without being a direct ripoff. Definitely inspired as opposed to a direct copy. So what I'm going to do is get out some black and white, and then I'm going to start assembling here in a bit, and you can watch the process with me. If you can believe it, a month has passed since I started filming this video. I've had knee surgery, I visited my mother, I've put out some videos, but I never got back to the Barbie plate. Now the movie is out, so I'm in a bit of a crunch time. I've cut up some strips, like Barbie's bathing suit. And what I think I'm going to do is, they're not exact, but I'm going to cut them in such a way I can chevron them, and then work from there on a pattern that I find pleasing. I should have been a little more exact in my cutting, but I eyeballed everything. But I think, because originally I cut these strips, and this is way too wide to work on a chevron pattern. It would cover the whole thing. So I think what I'm going to do is grab the strips I find most pleasing and that are the most similar in width, and cut them at an angle, and then flip one and chevron them, and see how that works out. I haven't done work quite this detailed, but we shall see. And if I have to, I'll cut more strips. I think that might be a bit too much of an angle, but we'll see. I think I like this layout, but I can see that I have some work that I need to do on the pieces. So what I'm going to do, if I can find it, and that's a big if. Ah, there we go. Is what I think I'm going to do is square off this piece like this which unfortunately doesn't want to pay attention. And I'm going to take these pieces to the grinder and work on them. I'm going to work on them on and off camera and sort them out so they are perfectly square and come up with a little square bodice type outfit. And then I will come back and show you it once I'm ready for it to go into the kiln. Okay, so in the end, this is not what I was anticipating. It gave me grief for almost an hour before I kind of threw up my hands and let it be. But I do kind of like this jagged edge because it reminds me of the contours of a human body. And while Barbie's got a perfect body, human beings in general don't. I have it off-centered because I didn't want it square in the middle of the plate. You can see right here, I've put some powder in the gaps because, well, no gap. There's no gap here because I don't want the pink showing. We'll see how well it fuses up. Looks like I can add a little more black right there, which I will do using my handy dandy tiny Frit spoon. These things are the greatest. I love them to pieces. I'm just pushing it around with my finger. But pretty much the idea is not to get a perfectly smooth base, but to cover it so the bright pink peony does not show through. No, it's not perfect, but I'm happy with it, and I'm actually not displeased. So I'm going to throw it into the oven, the kiln, on what's probably a contour fuse with a few other things I have going. And then I will slump it, and I will bring back the finished piece and show you. So here's the final piece. Don't mind my messy desk. I'm not in love with it. I don't know if you can tell by the looks, but it's pretty flat. There is about, a 1/16 of an inch of raise. It's less than I wanted. I wanted it to be far more raised. Goober dog, go away. My cousin's dog is here, and as much as I love him, I don't want him in my studio where he can cut his feet. So there's a little bit visible right there that I don't like, but it's cute. I'm not as in love with it as I could be. I do think that, I like it. I just move the coffee out of the way. I would like it a bit more, I think, if I had been a little more careful with this. My kiln fire's weird. The thermometer in it is, or the thermocouple in it is 50 degrees off at minimum. So I have to guess, and so when I put it in there at 1350, apparently it went a lot higher than I was thinking it was going to be, because when I fuse at 1350, I get your standard tack fuse in my other kiln. So I figured 1400 to give a nice contour fuse, but unfortunately anything above about 1350 takes forever for my kiln to get up to. So as a result, it applied a lot more heat work than I was thinking. I'm going to have to spend the $80 and buy myself a thermocouple and do some surgery on this kiln, and if that doesn't fix it, then I'm going to have to replace the kiln because I'm getting really tired of having to play guess the temperature. But anyway, it doesn't really affect the Barbie plate. I mean, it did, but I still think it's cute. It looks like Barbie. And I mean, I accomplished what I set out to do, even if I didn't 100% accomplish what was in my brain. So I'll twist it a bit more. You can see it's got that cute edge I like. It's got the Barbie shape I like. Maybe I should have done a bit of white up here, like the top of the Barbie suit. I didn't include a picture because that's a copyright thing. But if you Google Barbie swimsuit, you'll see it. It's everywhere right now. But as always, thank you for watching, and next week I have a kiln unboxing, which will be really cool to see. Hey, it's Steph, and I appreciate you watching my video. YouTube will recommend another one down below, so if you want to keep watching, just click on it.